Oh, there you go. Lake Towhee bass, July, buzzbaits. Hey, I'm Bob Murray. This is Double Valley Outdoors. Stay tuned. It's going to be a big one, a beauty.
Delaware Valley Outdoors, your best source for fishing information on TV, radio, and the internet.
John, this is a kind of a neat little lake. It's a little gem. If you don't like weeds, then you don't fish here. But best time of the year when you're here. I mean, I know this is mid-July here. But,
yeah. Bob, I've always found that this lake was best somewhere mid-April to real early May. You kind of get on here before the lily pads have really taken over. You have a lot more access. You can get to some of the shallow banks where some of the fish are getting up to spawn. Right now, you're going to have to work to get the bites in the summertime, but I'd put yourself here in the middle of the spring.
April,
yeah,
mid-April, actually beginning of April too. I don't think.
Yeah, depending on the kind of winter we've had. I've known this lake to be iced up when Nakamixon is wide open. And so sometimes you just have to wait a little bit longer to get on here.
Well, I'll tell you what, the fish could not ask for more cover.
Absolutely not.
Do. We got a ton of...
I think there's definitely fish here that probably hardly ever see a lure, if not maybe never see a lure all year long.
I know we were talking before when we were just starting here, is that going through these weeds, that if you don't like fishing weeds, you might as well give it up.
Yeah.
Now,
you're going to be fighting them all day long.
You're fishing a buzzbait, and I'm throwing a spinnerbait. We've had some hits both on the buzzbait and the spinnerbait, but you really have to just get used to picking off the weeds, and you can't be using crankbaits or anything in here.
No, we're not going to be throwing crankbaits, that's for sure.
That kind of stuff. Now this lake is located, you said like near Nakamixon, it's in north?
A little north of Nakamixon, I guess north central Bucks County.
And it's a county lake?
Yeah, county lake and a county park. A little bit differently, may not show up on some of the state maps that other people have as far as looking for places to fish.
Yeah, it's not really it's not well marked even to get in, find in the park.
I think this lake is only listed at about 50 acres. There's fish.
Oh. On the buzzbait.
On the buzz.
He just sucked that up.
Yeah, I almost didn't even hear him.
Nice fish.
Give me a hand there, Chief.
Yeah. Come here, sweetheart. Oh, that's a nice little fish, John.
I'll take that one to start.
There you go.
All right, quick release.
It's a chunky fish too. Good
healthy.
Fish. Yeah.
And boy, they're beautiful. Just with all the cover, they're dark green.
We have largemouth in here.
That's going to be your #1 species that most of the guys are after. I think one of the bonus species, some people don't like them, but I love them, is chain pickerel. And they're just so aggressive, and usually people aren't keeping them, so they get to be a decent size.
And they'll hit a spinnerbait, a buzzbait.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've had them hit little Mr. Twister jigs. Now, and I think you find some crappies in here as well, and bluegill.
Now this lake, we know that you've actually taken a fish out of here that's 7 pounds.
7 pounds, yeah. That's,
which is a very nice fish.
Anywhere you go, that's a good one.
But now it's turned into, they've had it into what's called a big bass lake. Is that what the terminology?
I think the regulations used to be where you could keep, I think it was 6 fish that were 12 inches in length, but now this year it's a part of the big bass program with the state, and fish have to be 15 inches long to keep, and you're only allowed to keep 4 of them. So this lake sees some pressure from the bank, and a lot of guys, will be keeping everything they catch. So I really think it's just going to make the lake that much better.
Well, we mentioned the fact that it has done a lot for Lake Nockamixon, that big bass.
I really think it's turned Nockamixon around.
Yeah.
There's way more bigger fish in Nockamixon than I think there has been. And, we can go back to pollution years and stuff like that, but, the tournaments that we see at Nockamixon, if a 3-pound average doesn't win. You may catch a check, but you don't win. And,
I have to say this because of that big bass regulations. I mean, because there was good fish there in the lake before, let's face it, but that has really, I mean, the number of quality fish has just increased so much, and I was really glad to see that they did it to Towhee too.
Yeah, so I think they realized they had a little gem here, trying to preserve it, trying to take care of it, and I think it's a great move. I think we'll really see the rewards of it in years to come.
Well, one thing, we're here in, well, it's mid-July or almost late July. Yeah. There's a lot of ice fishing goes on in this lake. Does this lake ice up in the wintertime?
Yeah, it ices up usually pretty good. It stays very cold, and usually, if you're watching the walls at the sport shops or whatever, and you're going to see a picture of a 5-pounder taken out of the ice, or a real nice pickerel taken through the ice. And
yeah, because the lake's not real deep.
No.
And it's got a good chance to ice up, and look, otherwise it's easy to get to. I mean, you don't have to walk very far on the ice to get to a spot.
Not at all.
But then again, it's not really a deep lake either.
Swell right there.
Yeah.
No, it's, I think about your maximum depth here is going to be about 10, but the lake is probably going to average somewhere in that 5 to 7 range. And that's, for guys like you and me who like chucking at weeds and sticks and shallow water, it's just perfect. It's the style of fishing that we like to do.
Now, I like to throw, I would in here throw a much heavier line than you do. We always debated that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were real serious about coming in here to catch a big fish, I don't know that you should be in here with anything less than about 12 or 14. Stout rod, ready to, mix with a fish that's 5 or 6 pounds. And, you may work your way through some pound and a half fish, kind of like that one, but sooner or later, one of those big boys is going to grab it, especially if you're here in the springtime.
Then you're throwing into these. There's a lot of stuff underneath here too, or not?
Yeah, it won't show up on film, but I like a little lighter line. I like throwing the smaller lures. I feel I get a few more bites with that, and like throwing a spinner rod. But
you have you got 8-pound tests.
8-pound tests on here.
It's not too bad. But again, if you get a nice fish into those weeds, as we well know,
we might be diving in after them.
Yeah, I learned my lesson a couple of weeks back when.
You see, there's a deer sitting out there.
Oh yeah, look at him. We'll be right back with more fishing from Lake Towhee after these messages.
The Wild Turkey Woodlands program provides materials. It provides a seed program, also technical assistance through their biologists. The land has been here for eons. It's only mine and my family's for a short period of time. We're the managers and the caretakers of it. That takes into account our way of life and our interest in our hunting heritage. And the Wild Turkey Woodlands program is the greatest conservation habitat development program of any conservation organization in this country.
Mommy, what's wrong?
You can refuse to be a victim, and we can help. Call now about the I Refuse to Be a Victim safety course from the women of the NRA. It's not about guns or joining the NRA. It's about planning your own personal safety strategy. Call now.
You can hear the beep a little louder.
The JATES program has helped me so much in the outdoors. For a long time, I didn't even know what conservation even was. I want to do my part for wildlife. I love being a Jake. Whether you hunt or not, the Jake program has something for everyone. I know I'm doing my part for wildlife. I really believe children hold the key to the future of wildlife. And NWTF believes it too.
NRA for your free gun-safe educational book at 1-888-4-EAGLE-4. That's 1-888-4-EAGLE-4.
John, I know you had mentioned, like we're just laughing here, if you're not going to throw out weeds, you're not going to throw out anything in this lake.
That's the truth.
But the bank fishermen here, they have a pretty good area to fish too. And you had just said a guy had been fishing here for crappie.
Yeah, it's, you know, you're not really limited to big fish only from the boat. I was fishing here one year and watching a guy fish from shore, and he's catching crappies, fishing minis, and man, all of a sudden his rod goes over and he starts grunting and winding, and before I know it, man, he lifts a bass out that was the size of a bowling ball. And he didn't have a scale, so I actually went over and measured it for him. And it was 6 pounds even, and it was just beautiful, just beautiful.
So that's the whole thing. You don't have to have a boat. Speaking of boats, this is an electric
only
lake.
That's real important. I think that actually, Bob, it's one of the things that helps it because it doesn't get like the attention of Knockemixon. Some guy who's just got his brand new boat and wants to open it up, he's going to go and hit Knockemixon. He's not going to come over here and fight the weeds and stuff like that. So I think that really helps out, especially guys in like a canoe or even, like we said, like a belly boat or something like that. It's just perfect for that type of a situation.
Yeah, just even a small little rowboat or anything. Well, you can use electric motors on them, but...
Well, my dad and I, when we first started really fishing seriously, we wanted a boat just to fish this lake. We came and saw this from shore and we were like, man, oh man, what are we going to have to do? And I think we ended up buying a 12-foot jumbo for like $100 and throwing it on the roof of my Nova. And man, we used to come here and kill them, just absolutely kill them. So that night, a lot of good days on this lake.
Man, and for bringing kids, this is a good lake for kids. I know you run a little fishing club camp in the summertime, and part of your activity is to come over here with the kids. Yeah,
it's, I mean, for kids who want to fish, it's great. For kids who don't want to fish, I mean, there's a playground area, there's camping areas. Certainly, it's pretty safe for them to run around, and a great place to bring a family for like a Sunday afternoon or something.
Yeah, we didn't mention that, but it's a county park.
Yep.
But you can camp here. There's camping.
Yep.
There was a nice playground.
And a nature trail that goes around the entire lake. A nice walk. And you've already seen some wildlife.
Yeah, there's a beaver. We went past the beaver dam up there. Yeah. Now, John, we were speaking about this before, but they actually dredged this, and we can't remember how many years ago.
10, 12 years ago, we were trying to decide.
And I haven't decided whether it was a good idea or a bad idea. But what they've done, I don't know. They were trying to get rid of a lot of the weed growth and give it a little bit of depth, but it didn't seem to.
It seemed like, Bob, when they started, I mean, there were weeds everywhere. And I mean, here it is 10 years later, and there's weeds everywhere. It took them 2 years, and just like you said, just not sure whether it was a good thing or not. I think it murkied the water up, and it gave you access to some spots that you didn't have access to for a while. But
it's all grown.
It's all grown back.
Yeah. I mean, for bass habitat, it's
yeah.
It's really good, but boy, it gets a little difficult. I guess, like you said, though, springtime,
right?
Early spring, April, May, you still got plenty of it because you get got a lot of milfoil and all the other stuff that's growing in here.
He's still thumping.
All right.
I just think we better go and
just go get him. He smashed that thing.
Boy, yeah.
Like if it's a pickerel, I'm not lipping him. I'm telling you right now. I am not lipping this fish.
He's still on. Here it comes. He's coming up.
Come here, fishy.
Oh, look at that bass.
Nice bass. Come here, fish.
Woohoo! How about that one, huh?
There's a little Lake Towhee fish for you,
Yeah,
son.
that's a nice Lake Towhee fish.
There you go.
That is an absolute beauty. Wait,
Look at that.
You think he might go 4.5?
He's in there. John, we're fishing the buzzbait spinnerbait. Got some fish on the buzzbait.
Yeah.
Got some fish on the spinnerbait. But you had said we might want to start throwing some plastics now.
Yeah, we went probably a half an hour or so without getting a strike on top water or hitting the buzzbait. And so, you know, you went to your Senko bait, rigged wacky style, and I picked up this bubblegum floating worm. And I think it's just, you know, we can get it into those little pockets, let it sink down a little bit, and maybe a fish that's not actively chasing, you know, buzzbait or a spinnerbait, you know, you're going to get them to suck a bait like this in.
Then again, you're fishing that floating worm, which is basically a weedless type situation.
It's like a Texas rig without a weight on it.
And then you're just pitching it right onto the weeds and the little scum line here, and then just getting it to the edge and then letting it drop.
And once in a while you get a fish to, you know, blow up through the mat, and, you know, like a scum frog or something. But a lot of times they're just going to sit and wait till it gets right to the edge, and
yeah, they'll follow it. They'll almost follow it, and then when it drops to that edge,
just let it fall. And hopefully get one of them big boys to suck it in. So a lot of people are probably familiar with Texas rig worms, or, you know, you rig it weedless with the slip sinker and it kind of stays on the bottom. But here, Bob, there's so much weeds kind of choking it that if something's on the bottom, they probably won't be able to see it. So what we do is just rig up one of these floater worms, bubble gum, yellow, I think you've seen white, and then I just put a little swivel above it, just gives it a little bit of casting weight, and gives the bait just a little bit of dive, how it just kind of drops down. A lot of guys will use a split shot sometimes to just get it to sink under the water and just kind of twitch it along and swim it, and, you know, you'll feel that twitch and reel down, set the hook just like a Texas rig. And
yeah, and you mentioned that the bait, I mean, I have a white one on, you have the pink, but it's fairly visible.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard guys say that, you know, you choose those wacky colors because the fish have never seen them, and then I've heard guys say, well, you choose colors that we can see, because sometimes your best bet of following a strike is losing sight of the bait, and that lets you know the fish has got it.
Yeah, because you can see this bait from a long
ways away, and, you know, some of the strikes we've had on it, we could actually see the fish come up and grab it, but sometimes, you know, you just get one where it just disappears, and time to set the hook.
Right on that floating worm again, Johnny boy.
Worm.
Right on that floating worm. They like that pink, I think.
Well, I don't know if they like the pink or if I like the pink, Bob. It's I like the pink because I can see it, and how I knew that fish hit is all of a sudden we lost sight of it, it disappeared. So, not bad Towhee fish.
NRA for your free gun-safe educational book at 1-888-4-EAGLE-4. That's 1-888-4-EAGLE-4.
You can hear the beep a little louder.
The JATES program has helped me so much in the outdoors. For a long time, I didn't even know what conservation even was. I want to do my part for wildlife. I love being a JATE. Whether you hunt or not, the JAKES program has something for everyone. I know I'm doing my part for wildlife. I really believe children hold the key to the future of wildlife.
And NWTF believes it too.
Mommy, what's wrong?
You can refuse to be a victim, and we can help. Call now about the I Refuse to Be a Victim safety course from the women of the NRA. It's not about guns or joining the NRA. It's about planning your own personal safety strategy. Call now.
Wild Turkey Woodlands program provides materials. It provides a seed program, also technical assistance through their biologists. The land has been here for eons. It's only mine and my family's for a short period of time. We're the managers and the caretakers of it. That takes into account our way of life and our interest in our hunting heritage. And the Wild Turkey Woodlands program is the greatest conservation habitat development program of any conservation organization in this country.
Another one on that, Tom.
Look at that.
How much are those pink worms?
Pickerel.
Oh.
Didn't think we could get through fishing here without grabbing one of them. You want to unhook this one for me?
No, you're dealing with that, my friend. You're dealing with that one.
Not my favorite thing in the world to deal with.
Did he? Let me get your pliers.
I'll just try to get behind the gill plate here.
Yeah.
I think so. Like
just a little pickle.
Yeah, a little 14, 15-inch pickerel.
Hit that worm. Well, John, we're here with the tackle box section of the show. And this morning we started off, obviously, because we had dark conditions, we started off with a buzz bait, which seemed to be the bait for the best number of fish that...
yeah, I think we got 4 or 5 on that.
Yeah, we had a bunch of, we had blow-ups and stuff like that.
Just a couple.
The bait you were using, again, was an 1/8 ounce buzz bait. And I have a green one on here, but the color... You want like a white and a
white chartreuse mix. I tend to be indecisive, so I like to throw the mix. And like we mentioned earlier, lots of frogs out here in the water, and green's always a good choice.
Yeah, and that 1/8 ounce is the ticket, though.
I think that's big as well, because I think when it hits, it doesn't sink too quickly, and you got a chance to get it up and get it going. I really think that was important.
And you picked up a big fish on that one. Then we went to the floating worm.
Right.
And now this one here is pink.
Pink, bubble gum.
Yeah, bubble gum.
Yeah.
And again, you just Texas rigged it.
Right.
And
throw it out there. I think the swivel is important, which is down there. I think that keeps the line from getting twisted, because you are twitching it and it's spinning in the water. And just gives you just that little extra bit of weight for casting. But
now, you throw this on a bait caster.
Yeah, I'm able to throw it on a 6.5 foot bait caster, and I like to have the heavier line, long hook sets, and it's worked out real well for me.
And you can really
put the stick to them when you need to.
Because we're basically in a lot of weeds here anyway. So and again, but this is totally weedless. I mean, it's just
about 99.9%, about as weedless as you can get.
And you can, you can really throw this far, though.
Yeah, and especially you were throwing yours with a spinning rod, and it works well with a spinning rod, and I don't think you can go wrong with these conditions. What we kind of had our hand forced.
Yeah, but that even caught a pickerel too.
Yeah, got a pickerel on that one.
Well, I got to throw my spinner bait. You know that.
I know you're the spinner bait now.
I got to throw my Durstein bait here, and had a fish on there, nice fish this morning. And the mistake that I made this morning in the tackle box section here is that I hadn't my drag tight enough, so when the fish hit it, I couldn't get that hook set. And I had a trailer hook on my bait this morning because of the situations we're in. I will try it, and I didn't even get it. But again, we have a fire tiger here. Again, the chartreuse, the color,
green and white.
Great green and white. 1/8 ounce, 1/4 ounce. I don't think we'd go any bigger than.
No, not with. The deepest water we were looking at today was maybe 5 or 6 feet, and anything more sunk too fast and got hung up in the weeds.
So you wanted something a little lighter bait, because we only had a couple a feet over top of the weeds. As a matter of fact, the weeds came right to the top. You know, the bait that I love throwing, I know we've talked about it, and that's my my super sinker. Again, it's a very simple bait to use, fairly weedless considering the fact that what we have, the conditions we had today. Slow drop, slow presentation, and what I did, I just put a little tiny split shot at the top because these baits sink so slow that I just wanted it to drop just a little bit more, and we had some fish on this too. But again, June bug I think is probably the best color for right now. In this water here, you could go to a motor oil or a pumpkin seed or something like that. I know that's one of your favorite colors. But again, I'm throwing this on a spinning rod too. But now I do have, I think like 12 or 14 pound test. Again, because of the conditions that we had, they're going to get in there. I mean, that big fish, he was in the weeds. We had to go get him. I had to dig him out.
8 pound test, we had to go after him.
We had to dig him out. And like we had said, we're using fairly stiff rods. You had one on the 8 pound test, but we're in the conditions where you really need to
be prepared
to have that rod and to get him out of that, because there is possibility of catching a 5-6 pound fish on this little lake here right in Bucks County that most people don't think of. Well, that's the tackle box.
You want to get me when we go?
Yeah, get him.
Come on, sweetheart. Still got some fight left in you.
Come here, fishy. All right.
Yeah, it took a while for that float worm to work out.
Yeah, well, we had to go through this weeds. Hey, Lake Towhee, summertime, John Hawthorne. Johnny, thank you for taking me out here.
It's been my pleasure.
And we'll see you again on Delaware Valley Outdoors. Don't forget to stop at the website, www.delawarevalley.outdoors.com. Fishing reports, weather reports, windcast, any kind. Send me a message. I'd like to hear from you. I'm Bob Murray. I'll see you on the water. All right, Johnny boy.